Hi, welcome back, and welcome to Lyle Shelton, who's just fresh from lurking about the corridors of power in Canberra. How are you, Lyle?
I'm well, thanks, Kent. I'm not sure if lurking's the right word, but we do wear out a bit of shoe leather there from time to time.
Okay, now onto a very serious topic, Lyle. It looks very much like we're going to see military involvement, Australian military personnel in Iraq again. But for once, we don't seem to hear church groups, calling for peace and a diplomatic solution. What's going on there?
Well, you probably have to ask the churches that, Kent. I guess everyone's been really appalled by the just extreme brutality that we've seen from the Islamic State, and our Muslim friends, to their credit, don't like them being referred to as Islamic because they see this as very far from their religion. But nonetheless, the brutality has been pretty horrible. And I think even churches would agree, and it's not for me to speak on their behalf, but I think they would even agree that something needs to be done to contain this menace. It is a real threat to humanity, and it can't be allowed to continue to grow in that part of the world.
Yeah, it's a bit of a worry, Lyle, because of course, every other time Australia or the US has gone into fight against guerrilla fighters on their home turf, it never ends up pretty.
No, it doesn't, and there's no easy way to do this sort of thing. But what we are seeing here, as the Prime Minister and others have said, is pure evil. We see more beheadings. We see this group with expansionist goals. They're not just content to stay in one place. They want to continue to expand in the Middle East and throughout the world. And so it does need to be contained and defeated for the safety of humanity.
Okay. Well, one thing that I guess a lot of church groups and the government seem to be having more difficulty agreeing on is what to do with the fallout. What to do with the refugees that are streaming out of countries like Syria, like Iraq, that are in conflict. Do we see any way forward here?
Well, what we've seen is a humanitarian disaster, of course, first in Syria and now in Iraq, where hundreds of thousands, and if you take the two zones, well over 1 million people have been displaced from their homes. And this, of course, places enormous pressure on countries like Australia and other countries of goodwill which are prepared to accept refugees. It was disappointing to see the Minister for Immigration, Scott Morrison, last week say that the reason we can't double our humanitarian intake in response to these crises is because it would cost too much money. In the forward estimates, $2 billion. But I think that given that they've stopped people smuggling, essentially, there's some big savings to be made in closing down detention centres, and this could be applied to resettling refugees. So I really don't think the cost factor is an issue. I think we've got to look at the humanitarian and the compassionate side.
Yeah, interesting insight. Okay, thanks for your time this week, Lyle.
Pleasure, Kent. Thanks for having us.